Games journalists are really, truly trying to make Assassin's Creed Shadows work, but spoilers, it's really not. Like, there's, outside of just simply laughing at the obvious when it comes to this, it's like, nobody cares about this. We've seen how scummy Ubisoft is. We know their malicious pricing structure, trying to get everybody onto their terrible subscription service where you will own none of your games and you will enjoy them, well, until you start playing a Ubisoft game where it's as generic as every other Ubisoft game that has come out post Far Cry 3. But the dying games media, they really want this to work because it's everything that they want in a game. So yes, how Assassin's Creed Shadows blends new and classic ideas with dual protagonists. Dual protagonists? Yeah, that's been a thing since Syndicate, and we're going on, what, 10 years? No, it's not very new at all. The only thing that's new is that you went to a highly requested setting and culturally appropriated the shit out of it. Just in a hands-off preview demo of Assassin's Creed Shadows, I was able to see roughly 30 minutes of gameplay that showcased both Naoe and Yasuke, the two protagonists, and their combat styles and action. They represent both worlds of the series combat. Right, Naoe, the tiny Asian girl who's supposed to be the assassin in, let me check, Assassin's Creed. Right, stealthy shinobi wielding the iconic hidden blade, and Yasuke, yeah, the black guy who's just going around killing Asian people. It's kind of strange, right? Because you have IGN saying that Resident Evil 5 couldn't possibly be remade to meet Capcom's high standards. Instead, the answer is to rewrite it. And then, of course, you have other articles on IGN, the top 5 beheaded combos you can do with Yasuke against yellow soldiers. Yeah, no, exactly. Feel free to show off how cool the combat is straight out of San Francisco. Nothing wrong with that at all, guys. As set in a fictional West African country, yes, Resident Evil 5 primary antagonists are black people until you realize it's a virus and the main antagonist is still Albert Wesker. Like, it's almost like you guys didn't play the game, but we're talking games journalists, man. Of course they didn't play the game. It gets even more hilarious because recently the Summer Game Fest, is it Game Singular? I think it is, ended up going on, and yeah, one of the predominant or premier AAA titles that was out there on display for people to go and suffer through, or I guess the shills to just go and, guys, Ubisoft really, they're returning to their roots when it comes to Assassin's Creed. Okay, this is the first time since the last Assassin's Creed that it's, really perfected the formula. They ended up getting to see gameplay, like what we've seen from that IGN article where, the hack and slash gameplay that Assassin's Creed, a stealth-based game, is known for. Oh my god, you'd get to just absolutely kick ass as Yasuke, the historical character, which is, oh my god, even some of the people that I like in the gaming space, unironically, well, even though they kind of stay out of the whole politics side of things, which I think is fine. Okay, you don't want to take a stance on it. Okay, you don't want to be inflammatory. That's you. As long as you're consistent with that application, I have no problem with that whatsoever. That's not your battle. You don't want to get involved in it. Eventually, it's going to come to your door and it will be a problem for you, but you can go ahead and cross that bridge when you get to it. If you're going to stay apolitical, that's a choice that you can make. It's not very tenable in 2024, but some people learn slower than others. But yes, if you're going to try to play it down the middle by saying the historical character, the historical figure that is Yasuke was in fact, yes, a sword bearer. He was a novelty of Nobunaga during feudal Japan. Yes, of course, he was there during that time. It's just when it comes to displaying his combat prowess, I mean, the first time he was ever confronted in battle, he surrendered right away. Kind of a strange person that you want to simply go ahead and rewrite the history for, but this is Ubisoft. They have certain boxes that they need to check, and if they wanted to tell a diverse story, depending on the day, whether or not you want to classify Asians as being white or a minority, I guess it would serve to assume that they came down on the side that Asians are white, therefore he needed to go ahead and add a little diversity to the mix. Peas in the rice, if you will. It's just, if you thought the inclusion of Yasuke and pushing him to the forefront was stupid to begin with, I mean, now we're starting to see gameplay, and it's even dumber than that. Did this useless weapon bearer really say, "I am justice," after massacring a Japanese man who was forced to fight? Wow, that kind of sounds wild, right? Ubisoft with Assassin's Creed Shadows is literally sending a message that Yasuke was the savior of Japan. Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, hey, if they're going to rewrite his prominence in feudal Japan, well, hell, why not just go further and just have him to be the most honest and true motherfucker walking the face of the earth? Don't worry, you don't have to hear the squealing sounds of a poor Japanese guy, being beheaded. You can hear the dulcet tones of feudal Japanese hip-hop.
I said kill him! Who do you think you are? For the people? I am justice.
Yeah, so there was a point in time where Assassin's Creed liked to take a setting. Okay, I'm going all the way back in my memory banks with Assassin's Creed 2 and then that spin-off trilogy where they would go ahead and have era-appropriate music in the background, okay? You would have the sights and the sounds of the Italian culture during the Renaissance. Yeah, you would hear that stuff. You wouldn't hear gongs and chimes with a dope beat underneath. Like, what are we doing? What the hell are we actually doing? So yeah, rewriting Japanese history in order to make this fringe person far more prominent. Yeah, it's not going to end up working out all that well for him. But shout out to Grums again. He's cataloged a lot of the stuff, a lot of the dumb stuff that IGN specifically has been saying that the rest of the games media complex are just going to go ahead and parrot anyway. So you might say that it's from IGN, but realistically it could just be squawked out by any of these worthless outlets. So let me get this straight. Actually, historical figure Yasuke in Assassin's Creed Shadows battles to rap music, walks through villages beating Asians up, uses excessive non-honorable violence, crushing heads of defeated enemies, makes all villagers bow to him incessantly, has a dialogue that paints him as the discount Batman savior of the Japanese. I am justice. I am the black. Oh wait, no, not that part. Japan isn't having it, Ubisoft, and here are their comments. Seems damn culturally insensitive of you to have, in your zeal to be woke and force a black hero into Japan. Well, what do we have here? Let's read some of these because these look very interesting. Okay, so that's from the specific Japanese trailer for Assassin's Creed on the Japanese Ubisoft account. Okay, a torii is not an entrance to a village. Ubisoft knows less about Japanese culture than Koreans do. Oof. In Korean. The Chinese trailer also sits at a similar ratio of 161 likes to 981 dislikes. Yo, if you even got if you got Chinese standing up for Japanese on top of Koreans standing up for Japanese, I mean, you've galvanized Southeast Asia in collectively taking a dump on a stupid French Canadian hack studio. Is great. It's real great. For UBI's convenience, or for Ubi's convenience, right? Or to put it bluntly, they only have a perspective that imposes the way of thinking of white and black society or on Asian society. Their own society's way of thinking is right, and they force Asians into that mold, which leads to discrimination and insults. If you see a black person dressed as a samurai, everyone will assume he stole it. Well, I mean, Japanese women with slanted eyes are really weird. To be honest, I don't know the difference. So again, this is, Japanese people writing their Japanese comments. Yasuke, who isn't even a samurai, plays at being a samurai and walks through a Japanese city and massacres Japanese people as if nothing had happened. Typical Ubisoft. It's so scary to see samurai killing so many people in the streets. Yeah, they're supposed to be the most honorable enforcers of the samurai code. So why are they just running around beheading people? Yeah. More like demons than samurais. Why not set it in the battlefield? Why did you just say it's a good harvest when they're at the planting stage? Just pointing out writing inconsistencies. That's the stuff I love. So surreal and funny that a huge black man walking around in Japan in full armor in the 16th century doesn't seem to be a surprise to any of the villagers. To a Japanese person, this is just a joke. Yeah, exactly. And this is supposed to be a stealth-based action game where you're a giant black guy in 16th century Japan. It's almost like Ubisoft didn't think this through. They almost thought that, yeah, we beat down Western audiences. We beat down Europe so much. Why would Japan be any different? But no, it very much is. But yeah, there's one comment right there, and that's the one that we'll probably wrap up on here. Who would buy such a middle finger to Japan? It's going to be funny, man, because we're eventually going to get the sales figures, or at least some acknowledgement whether or not this was a rousing success or not. Obviously, Ubisoft will try to hide some of that failure behind, I don't know if it's going to be on Game Pass. I think it was a part of the Microsoft conference. It could be, potentially. For their own stupid subscription service. There's different ways that they can go ahead and play a little shell game when it comes to announcing how poorly the sales ultimately are when November rolls around. But if the reaction, the universal reaction, is anything to go on, Ubisoft think that they hit a stumbling block back in the early 2010s when it came to an oversaturation of the Assassin's Creed franchise. This one right here might stop them dead in their tracks. Better hope that there isn't a giant black samurai around, because we know what ends up happening. And they roll up. They force you to fight, and then they steal your belongings. So with all that said, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.